Hi, everybody. We're the Skeleton Crew, and we're doing another Q&A video. We're going to introduce ourselves here today because this is the first video we're recording after some adjustments have been made. So, we're just so you understand, we have a Patreon. If you would like to, wink, wink, you should take a look at it, wink, 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 and maybe click some buttons that, financially support us all. That's very cool. If you do that, at a particular tier, you can submit questions for videos that come out roughly monthly. It's May 23rd, and we're doing the January Q&A.
We're catching up.
We're doing very well. But the more financial support we get, the more incentivized we are to actually record these videos on time. So that's just very cool. Now, I'm Dr. James Napoli. I'm a research instructor at Stony Brook University's Renaissance School of Medicine.
I am now Dr. Amelia Zutlo. I just defended my PhD from the Richard Gilder Graduate School at the American Museum of Natural History, which means I'm in limbo. I don't have an institution right now. But
you're in Wisconsin.
Yeah, well, that's
same thing.
Still in moving limbo, which is why there's an assortment of objects that aren't necessarily in their final places right now. I'm also back in Wisconsin permanently, hopefully, theoretically. For the time being. At least for a year. The lease is for a year. So, anyways, currently not in a job, but the next thing that I will be doing job-wise is teaching a course for the Sternberg Science Camps in Hays, Kansas.
Indeed.
Very awesome. My name is Scott Johnston. I am the vertebrate paleontology, fossil preparator, and technician at Harvard University's Museum of Comparative Zoology. My title has not changed and is not likely to.
Hi, my name's Alex Rubenstahl. I'm a PhD candidate at Yale University. My title has not changed, though I am recognized to have faucet failure.
Absolutely. Certainly. I had to do an ocular pat down to confirm the faucet failure. But it is confirmed. And the one who has just confirmed said faucet failure is none other than Dr. Dalton Meyer. I have also recently finished my PhD at Yale University. I am still at Yale University for the ensuing moment. There's some administrative things to take care of, various bits and bobs, before I transition into something different, which, as of this recording, is in the ether. So, stay tuned.
And tuned we will stay.
But while you're staying tuned, know this. This is the year 30,000. The mankind has spread throughout the universe. One planet, Arrakis. Spice comes from there. I forget the long intro to David Lynch's Dune, but it's very good.
What's the bit you're doing?
It was the intro to Dave Lynch's Dune. It's because it starts with know this.
Dave Lynch?
Yes.
Your
Dave.
bud?
Dave, yeah. I'm on a Dave name basis with him.
He's dead.
That's very sad.
And we're poorer for it.
So know this. Together.
We're the
Skeleton Crew.
And we're going to answer some questions for you.
We sure are.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Divers.
Hell yeah, brother.
Is what I'm doing right now.
I wish I were doing that.
Just kidding.
James, are you writing something? What are you doing?
I'll explain later.
Oh, he's doing arts and crafts.
But anyway, Dalton, are you going to question monger? Dr. Dalton, are you going to question monger for us again?
Well, that's Dr. Monger now, I think.
Oh, Dr. Monger.
But yes, I will be mongering the questions.
Okay, please monger them.
Our first question of January, it comes to us from Gojira, who asks, in an alternate timeline where paleontology didn't exist yet, what professions could you see yourselves in? And Scott, you have our first answer.
Oh, that I do. So I would probably say herpetology. I've always been interested in herps, and I even did a day of job shadowing of in our herpetology department at the University of Michigan, actually in the prep lab. So it is kind of funny that, like, maybe in another parallel universe, that version of Scott was a different preparator. Maybe there's an infinite number of universes out there with an infinite number of Scotts who are all preparators of some description, but other fields.
Okay.
Alex, you're up next.
Well, I feel like I've answered this question before,
We have.
but because we're answering it again, probably still. It's either I thought as I wrote the answers to these questions a month ago because I can't read. But I would say probably marine biology, and if I were in the sciences, and if I weren't in the sciences, some kind of creative field, probably writing. That's it.
That's an excellent answer. It's now my turn to say there are 3 other kind of fields that have captured my interest over the course of my life. Other than paleontology, the first would also be marine biology, similar to Alex. I think in no small part, I watched Jurassic Park and Jaws at a similar age and took a deep interest in those things. So never let it be said that early film watching isn't formative. Another thing that has captured my interest from time to time is epidemiology. It hits a little harder after the year 2020, perhaps. But this was when in high school I read The Hot Zone, and then I got like really into this idea of being kind of a disease detective. And then if it wasn't one of those fields, probably filmmaking, maybe doing things like prop design or some kind of something like that. Those have always been big interests of mine. James, you're up.
Yes. So I don't think I would have become a scientist if it weren't for paleontology, because at least in my experience, I was like, while I've always liked science, I never felt that kind of burning desire to become a scientist, except for something that I was really, really into. And the only thing that ever captured me in that way early in my life was paleontology. Like now where I am, I think there are a bunch of other fields or like related fields in evolutionary bio that I could see myself working in and being happy. But to get me to that point, I had to do something that involved dinosaur bones. I don't think that the path would have worked the other way to do like, it's like I'm fascinated by like evolutionary biology of fishes and, tropical lizards and snakes and things like that. And while I've always found them cool, I don't think I could have gotten there until I was already a scientist.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a filmmaker. Jurassic Park really influenced me, but again, it was the opposite for how many people are. I'm not a paleontologist because of Jurassic Park. I don't think. I wanted to become a filmmaker because of Jurassic Park, because of how amazing it was to see dinosaurs on screen. Given the slim chances of making it in that kind of profession, I say from this profession, I think I probably would have wound up in something like higher education focus that I probably would have chosen transparently for like a fairly high earning potential. Probably would have wound up in medicine or law or something. Because like I was always very good at school, and I always knew that I could be good at school as a path to making money. And I think without the overwhelming passion for paleontology, that's probably what I would have done. Not that I also find the legal profession in particular also very interesting, because I like having to read a lot of things and keep track of various details and try to like compile arguments or trace things like that. So I think that it's something that I probably would have been decent at, and maybe would have enjoyed. The better paychecks wouldn't have hurt though. Anyway, screw those dinosaurs for keeping me from financial security and a home.
Indeed.
Do you mean the reptiles or our aging government officials?
Hey!
Hey-o.
That's a later question, Dalton.
It looks like those clowns in Congress have done it again. What a bunch of clowns.
Amelia,
Yeah.
you are up for alternate careers.
There are 2 timelines. I mean, there is the timeline that I was on for a while, basically right up until college, and even I don't know, maybe the first year, and it doesn't matter. My plan A was to become a pilot, so probably that. But the other thing that I have interest in that's also like not in a research capacity, but like horticulture or botany, in terms of like more of like taking care of plants and managing them and that kind of thing. Granted, I never had an experience to do research on plants, so I don't know if I would like it or not, but that's never really what I saw with them.
Excellent. Well, those are the alternate universe skeleton crews that you will not get to meet, because we live in the one true fixed universe. Enjoy existence, everyone. because
The
it's
true
time for
nightmare
our-
is that there are infinite universes and you are the same in everyone.
Our next question comes to us from Uber Eats Sugar Daddy, who asks, "What's your favorite Godzilla movie and why is it -1?" And Scott, you are up first.
Indeed. I'd say that yeah, it's -1. I've enjoyed quite a few Godzilla movies. But like this one hit different. I really liked its emotional storytelling. And it was just incredibly well made, very well acted, and that actually made me tear up. And it's the first time I've ever teared up at a Godzilla movie. So yeah, hands down.
Alex?
There are maybe 2.5 good Godzilla movies. No, I'm kidding. I'm just being a little cheeky. There are 3 good Godzilla movies. And the best one, I like that movie. I like that Godzilla minus Godzilla does math. But my favorite is easily Shin Godzilla. I prefer its aesthetic. I prefer its themes, and it's kind of one of these. It's one of a very few movies I can think of which doesn't really have a protagonist but works very well. It's like a long episode of Star Trek. It's like about a group of people who are solving a problem, and the problem is the eternal scion of suffering and human sin. But we got to kill it.
We got to pump it full of goo.
Yeah, I also personally like. -1 has some interesting things to say about like Japan post-war.
Mm-hmm.
Be diplomatic here, but I'm more interested in what Shin Godzilla has to say about post-war Japan. I think at least in like the modern setting, I think that commentary is a little more interesting, and it's funny. Like it's a funny little movie, and intentionally, not like oh haha. It's like full of these great like comedy cuts.
As all the best Godzilla movies are.
No, they get
They have like the scenes where they're like, all right, we have to go to another meeting room to have this other meeting. It's great. It's awesome. It's so funny.
Yeah, yes. I also am a fan of Shin Godzilla for those reasons. I think it's a very good movie. I like a lot of Godzilla movies. I can't claim to have seen like, scores of them, but I've seen my fair share of Godzilla movies. But my favorite one is -1. I think it's just very well done at pretty much every level. The characters are really compelling and interesting and likable. And Godzilla is very threatening, but it's very clear like how the threat is being used. I mean, Shin Godzilla succeeds in this as well, in that it's very clear what Godzilla is meant to be, and not just
right.
A giant monster. Shin Godzilla does this well. Yeah, but I think I like I think I prefer -1 to Shin, but they're close.
Still have
James.
yet to see Shin.
I've
I really need to.
I've never
watch it.
seen Shin, so
You should. I agree with Alex. I like people. I don't want to say people are wrong for liking something in a certain way, and I don't think that they are. But like all the stuff you see shared of it online is like, oh, this is how cool like the laser blast scene is. And don't get me wrong, it's
That's
very
a cool
very,
scene.
It's very very
That
cool.
it is very. It's what I show people when I want to like convince them to watch the movie.
Yes, it is very cool. But I agree with Alex that the thing I enjoy about Shin Godzilla is seeing like all of the little kind of political and bureaucratic and logistical moves that people are trying to make to deal with it. It's like, okay, here's
I did once hear it described as like, oh no, Godzilla's attacking. We should convene a committee to decide what to do about Godzilla.
Yeah, that's the first 45 minutes. It's awesome. And they just go to different rooms where they have like the folding chairs out, and then someone's like, do we know anyone who knows about Godzilla? And they're like, no, not really.
That's kind of rad. I kind of love that.
It's fun. But anyway, my favorite Godzilla movie. So, okay, there's, I guess, a few answers here. I was very into Godzilla as a younger person. This would have been like roughly when Final Wars came out. I really frequented a fan website called Barry's Temple of Godzilla that had like a little like it's no longer up, Dalton. I saw you turn to Google. Oh, I've checked.
Hang on.
Is it still up? Are you going on the
It's still up. It says I'm not dead. I'm not dead yet. The official Barry's
Cool.
World store is now open for business.
What?
There's merch.
Oh my god. Well, I might have to be getting Barry's merch. But anyway, at that time, I don't think I was really conceptualizing of the movies as whether they were good or bad. There were more. You know, I wanted to just watch them. I
It's
wanted
back
to
when
see
you were
the
a kid and
monsters.
all movies are great.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
I do remember the first time I thought a movie was bad while I was watching it.
Oh, me too.
Well, and it was maybe embarrassingly late for me, but it was the M. Night Shyamalan The Last Airbender movie, where I just had this sudden like crashing realization. I was like, oh, this is bad. Like
Mine was the Nick Cage Ghost Rider movie.
well, I was like, oh, I get it. When people are like, I walked out of the movie, I understand that emotion now. But anyway, -1 is I think one of like the two good Godzilla movies. I know Shin is good. I just haven't seen it myself yet.
The original's good.
Yeah, but it's like also a movie from the 1950s with a rubber mod. It does not hold up while it's probably
yes.
well made for the time. I have, but honestly, my favorite, and I am ashamed, but also not ashamed to admit this, is the American TriStar Godzilla movie. And that's my favorite because that's the first one I saw as a child. I was like 4.
the Roland Emmerich one?
Yeah. And
With Matthew
here's my
Broderick.
secret. Here's the secret, Cap. No Godzilla movie's that good. -1 and Shin Godzilla are better than the rest of them, and all of the others are bad. They're all bad movies. This is also how I feel about Star Wars. When people are like, "Oh my god, that one's really bad and that one's really good," no, they're not. They're all kind of bad movies. They're fine. I think the
Insane.
fictional. I think the
It's a fascinating
expanded universe
opinion.
of Star Wars is far more interesting. Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi might be better than they are bad. This is
This is a
true.
wild opinion.
Search your
This is-
feelings, Scott.
no,
you know
this
it
is
to be true.
Empire is universally recognized as like probably one of like the top 100 movies of all time.
It's
I
so
just-
good.
Okay, I'm being perhaps a little bit flippant here. I'll give it to Empire.
Wait, what about the original Godzilla?
I don't think it's that good. I think it's not that good in the same way I think that the original Star Wars is not that good, which is like it's like important. I understand the importance of the movie,
Insane.
but like as a movie to watch it right now, I'm like, okay,
He's mad.
sorry.
He must be stopped. These
I'm
are
going to
just
move on because I was the
incorrect.
guy who was like, this Q&A has to be snappy, and now I'm here prolonging it by trying
He
to
only
play
said
rail.
that to protect his
by,
opinions.
by
Yeah,
tapping
I
his
did.
mind into the
I did.
into the
I have
madness
laid
zone.
Excuse
my
me while
opinion down upon the
Excuse me
ground.
while I ring the bell to save myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, unfortunately, the time for discussing Star Wars has passed.
No, that's fine. And James, I also like the American Godzilla. I have a
Thank
soft
you.
spot for it because I saw it as a kid.
Thank you. And what I'm trying to say here is like it's okay to like a movie that's like not that great, and I think that's fine.
Sure.
Like this is
Of
just
course it
generally
is.
my response to like people online who are like, no, that's really bad, or then are arguing the movie I really like is really good. Like I enjoy The Phantom Menace.
Oh,
Like-
I will defend Revenge of the Sith.
Like to be clear, I'm not saying I don't enjoy any of the Star Wars movies. I'm just like, I don't know, compared to like, I don't know, Schindler's List. I don't know. They're not. I don't know.
How
It's fine.
brave of you.
I know.
I
One-
don't think Star Wars is as
compared
good
to Citizen
as
Kane and Gone.
Schindler's List.
It's Gone with the Wind.
I don't think the Phantom Menace is as
It's as good as
But what about-
Citizen Kane.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't think that.
James,
Oh
I
my
got you
God.
a present actually.
What's that?
It's the Kane from Citizen Kane.
Kane.
Really?
Wait a second. There's no Kane in Citizen
no
Kane.
It was anyway. Not to spoil an 80-year-old movie. So yes, I enjoy the TriStar Godzilla movie because it's the first one I saw, and it took place in New York City. And when I'm in New York City on a really cloudy, rainy day, I still think of that movie, and I liked it when I was a child. I had toys of that Godzilla. I liked
Yeah,
it.
me too.
And it's
Cool
okay to
Godzilla.
like a movie that's just objectively not that good. You don't have to pretend it's a really good movie to say you like it. Just you can be comfortable liking it. It's okay. It's okay, everybody.
I like our YouTube channel, and it's not very good.
Right. I like my friends.
Hey, come on. What's up with that? There's no need for that.
Talking about other friends. I'm talking about other friends.
Oh,
yes,
sure.
yes. You don't have other friends.
I do. And they're bad.
He does, but I don't think they're bad.
Okay.
We like to joke here, folks.
We do.
But let's get serious for a moment. Amelia,
Yes,
what's
yes,
your
let's
favorite Godzilla?
Lock in.
I don't know. Well, I've not seen very many of them at all, which I mean, in hindsight, is probably strange because I feel like it's something I should have been into as someone who liked dragons and monsters as a kid.
Honestly, yeah.
But I don't know. We didn't have them. They weren't in the house, and we weren't allowed on YouTube for a while. So it's not like I could
Based.
Some
watch
wisdom in
them.
that.
I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really watch many of them. So like, I did see and like -1 for all the reasons everyone else gave. It felt like a real movie.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, right.
It
Yep.
does.
Well, because the only other Godzilla movie I'd seen 2 of them that we had on DVD for some reason. I think they came in like a box set. Back when, do you remember when Best Buy had like those really cool box sets of movies with like the really cool, like, I don't know, my dad got that or we got it for him. I don't know. Doesn't matter. The one,
It
I
don't
think
matter.
it was the one with the really cool cover art. I'm sorry. No, I think it was Godzilla 2000. Like he's got like jets and I don't know. It's really cool. I don't remember anything about that movie, but I know I've seen that one and I've seen the one with the dragonfly. And I remember that not being good, and I knew that as a kid that it wasn't good.
Dragonfly?
Yeah, the big dragonfly. And they also, I think, kill Godzilla
Isn't
in
that
that one.
Mothra?
No.
Which one?
They kill Godzilla frequently.
They kill
Yeah.
Godzilla a lot, yeah.
Okay, I
Like
don't.
Superman.
Again, I have seen, I think, literally 6 Godzilla movies, of which, and I know there are more, but it's a big dragonfly. It starts with an M. It's laying eggs, and then they like nuke Godzilla.
Mothra?
or they-
That's
No,
Mothra.
it's not Mothra. It's a dragonfly. It's not a moth. I know
Okay.
what a moth
All right.
is. It starts with an M. It's Mega something, but it's a big.
Okay.
Megalon?
No,
Meganira.
Mega.
I don't
Mega,
know.
No.
Megagirus, the dragonfly?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Megagirus.
Yes, that one.
Oh, wow. I
Oh.
didn't know you were so steeped in the lore, Jimbo.
Google
Barry
It was
it.
all
Anyway,
fan form.
Anyway.
It wasn't a forum. It was one guy's page where he just collated information about it, and I sucked it all up.
There's a meanness to him.
Anyway, I don't particularly like any of those. -1 is good. I like the 2014 one. I watched it somewhat recently,
Oh,
and
that
I
was
also
not bad.
the one. No, and the one that I have the most fun with is King of the Monsters. Like every time I watch that one, I'm like, this is really stupid, but it's really cool. Like all the.
Which one is that?
That's the one with the new one with Ghidorah and Rodan and Mothra and all of that. Like
The big
sound-
dragon is cool.
The big dragon is very cool. They're fighting in Antarctica, which is cool. The soundtrack slaps.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
does.
one that has the I can't remember the cover of the Godzilla song with the
Yeah.
System of a Down vocalist.
Mhm.
Like in terms of like Godzilla silliness and fun, it's I think King of the Monsters beats the other. In 2014, I recognize is not as good as -1, but it occupies a similar range of this is a movie and not just garbage with a guy in a suit.
Ooh. Oh. I think people
I know
will
my
get mad
least
at us for
favorite.
that one.
My least favorite is anything with Kong in it. Not anything with Godzilla and Kong in it. That's the only one I saw. I think I didn't see the newest one. The first Godzilla versus Kong sucked ass, and we saw it in the theater. And James made me pay $30 for a movie ticket to see it in IMAX.
And
And
you
I
know
was
what?
so mad because it was my first post-COVID movie. And I was like, all right, I'm glad to be back in a movie theater. And then it was just horrible.
That movie.
Which one was
when
this?
I made my family watch Godzilla versus Kong. Because I was
with
feeling
Mechagodzilla?
cheeky with Mechagodzilla. We watched it. My family watched in complete silence, and then the only thing they said after the movie was, "James, you're not allowed to pick another movie for 3 months."
my favorite bit of the Godzilla versus Kong movie is the bit where Godzilla sinks one of my dad's old ships. I think I've told that story.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, which is very funny.
Yeah, it's just like, wait a minute, that's the hull number of the Paul F. Foster. Oh no.
Dad, no.
And then the second Godzilla Kong is heinous. Oh
I
God.
refuse to watch it.
I haven't watched it yet.
Like, while I found King of the Monsters fun, the recent legendary Godzillas have just been such a uniform decline in quality one to the other.
I genuinely think I watched that entire movie with like this expression on my face. Just
it's kind of a shame because I like the design of them. Although I actually don't really like what they've done with Godzilla as much. I really prefer the 2014 legendary Godzilla to any other iteration of him.
Yeah.
But the rest of the creatures are very fun designs.
Honestly, I thought the show was okay.
I was going to say the show wasn't bad, the Apple TV show.
Oh, I heard it actually was. Yeah.
It's pretty fun. But did you guys know, however, that with a powerful grimace and a terrible sound, he pulls the splitting high tension wires down?
What?
He does.
It's
true.
It's the song.
It's true what they say.
It's the song, Alex.
And it took me
What do
so
you mean?
long.
Oh, right.
It took me so long to Google the lyrics of that song because I had accidentally opened up one of the fandom wiki pages for Godzilla and it destroyed my entire browser, as fandom wiki always does. Someone
site
needs
they
to
got there.
intervene. And I'm also intervening in this Q&A by moving to our next question, which comes to us from Dinosir, who asks, what's your favorite small museum that you've been to? Doesn't have to be paleontology related. And Scott, once again, you're up first.
It's got to be the Calvert Marine Museum that I went to with these hooligans a while back. I will do a shout out for the University of Michigan Museum of Natural History. That is one of the best university museums I've ever been to. And I'm not just saying that because my dad helped build the building and I helped make a lot of the exhibits that are in there. It's a really, really good museum, but like the Calvert Marine Museum punches so far above its weight class, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so interactive. It's so well designed. The mounts are very good. It's incredibly informative. The exhibit design is just absolutely fantastic. They have some like reconstructions in there that are amazing. That Meg skeleton in there is
I want to see
out
that
of this
badly.
world. And it's also like it is worth going out of your way to go visit that place. It's not just like if you're in the area, it's go out of your way and go to that museum. They even have like a bunch of live animals there. Like I know a lot of museums will have like, oh, we have some fish or some bugs, but it's like, oh no, we have like a river otter exhibit and a bunch of other stuff. And it's amazing, and it incorporates into like the natural landscape and stuff. They have some nature walks around there and things with like really informative signs. It's great, and it's part historical museum too. It's wonderful. It's so good.
You wrote the Bruce and also maybe the Norrock Aquarium, but I would not call an aquarium a museum.
It actually technically is by the definition. We were having this conversation the other week that there's an official definition of what a museum is, and I'll see if I can find it when other people are talking. But that the official definition of a museum does actually mention that the maintained collections can be live. And a zoo or an aquarium counts as a living collection. Also, Alex's computer is not recording. I'm seeing.
Oh,
I don't know how long that has been happening, but I do not see a red dot on Alex's thing.
No,
What's
I
that?
noticed his video was frozen, but I don't know. Oh, now you're back.
His video's unfrozen.
But you
He's
don't.
also
I
not
don't see a
moving
red
much, so-
dot.
I don't. And there he
No.
goes. Well, hopefully that wasn't long. We're not going to retake it.
we're not. If Alex isn't there, we'll
We'll just put his answer on screen.
Yeah, we'll just
Exactly.
Alex. If we're not going to retake that, if you got cut out, we'll write your answer up for you. Mine. So I'm next. Me go now.
You go now.
My favorite small museum
now.
that I have been to is the Morrison Natural History Museum, which is in Morrison, Colorado, which is just a little bit outside of Denver. It's west of Denver. It's right next to Red Rocks Amphitheater. So if you're ever in town for a concert at Red Rocks, which I encourage you to go see if you're into live music, you should also check out the Morrison Natural History Museum. It is the town that's the namesake for the formation. So if you were curious about that, that's correct. The type locality of the Morrison is either in or right next to Morrison, Colorado. And the Morrison Museum itself is in this kind of old small house. It's like a 2-story house that's been converted into this museum. But they pack a ton of really, really cool stuff into this small space. The ground floor is kind of dedicated to Morrison fossils. And they've got some awesome trackways of like baby sauropods and baby stegosaurs and some accompanying models that show off the size of the animal, and you're like, oh, that's just a cat-sized stegosaurus. I love that. And then the upper floor has like some Cretaceous stuff and some Pleistocene stuff and a few live animals. They've got like a snake and I think a tortoise, and they've rotated various things in their tanks. But what's also really cool about the Morrison Museum is there's always like docents on hand to tour you through the place. Like if you go in, you're going to get a personalized tour from someone who's really knowledgeable about their collection. They'll probably show you their preparation area. And they're just a very cool small museum. And they also have a gift shop that kind of punches pretty hard. It's small, but their merch is good. And they also have like good books and stuff and some of the like Beasts of the Mesozoic toys. So, not kind of classic schlocky stuff. Nice things in the gift shop. So I highly recommend the Morrison Museum.
I would like to go there very much. I was sad to miss it on this last trip to Colorado I made the other week. I assume this counts, although it's stretching what I might call a small museum. Maybe not. The Burpee Museum is fantastic. I've had the pleasure of doing research there. And what I really like about the Burpee is the simultaneous, like really high quality exhibits. The exhibits are great. They are of the caliber you'd expect at a major natural history museum, which is insane given like the actual resources that they have available. But also that they really make it like important to them that you can do work on the specimens. Like when I was there to look at Jane, they took every real bone of Jane off of the mount so that I could study it in collections. The only thing that they didn't take down for me, and that's just because I told them they didn't need to, were the ribs and the chevrons, because I just wasn't really looking at those. And the pelvis, because that's like too dangerous to actually lift off the mount easily. And they said they would do it if it were really important, but they were like, please tell us it's not really important. And I was just like, it's fine. I can look at it. I could just stand in the exhibit. There are many major natural history museums that are not that amenable to research activities on things that are on display. And many smaller museums often are, but just don't have the staff or know-how or ability to make sure all of that happens. And so having all of that at the Burpee Museum is a really special combination. And it's a museum that I've loved every time I've been able to go back to. And I hope to be able to do work at many more times in the future.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Amelia.
Yeah. I think I could think of 3. I think I've mentioned obviously the Sternberg Museum. Like every time I go there, like it's not really that small in terms of space or collection, but like I love it. Every time I'm there, I just love it. In terms of very, very small, the Carter County Museum in Ekalaka, Montana, kicks ass, punches above its weight. They are raising money right now for an expansion, which I'm really excited about because it'll be really, really good for that community. Ekalaka, Montana, the last time I checked, I think it has about 400 people. So very, very tiny town. And the fact that this museum is there is fantastic. And it features a lot of obviously natural history stuff because it's in the Hell Creek, but a lot of the local history as well. Like there's a lot of rodeo history in the area,
Cool.
bucking horses in particular. So there's a lot of like stuff related to that, which is just really interesting. And they have really good exhibits and fantastic people are running it. Another very small museum that's relatively new, run by fantastic people who are also expanding much sooner, is the Whiteside Museum in Seymour, Texas. I don't really know how to describe what the space is like because it's so unlike any other museum I've been to. I am not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure Chris and Holly like built everything themselves. It feels like a log cabin in there. Like everything is made of wood and it's very warm and kind of like warm in the feeling sense, not in like temperature, but it's just very cozy, almost kind of like a cabin and dark, but in a way I feel like a museum should be. but there's really cool life models, really cool casts of things. There's really obviously a lot of emphasis on the local Permian red beds stuff. It's just fantastic. It's amazing. And they are this summer opening their new expansion, which I'm very excited. I get to go to that for their Permian Fest, their little mini conference type thing. But it's also going to be a celebration of the new space. So I'm very excited to see what they've done since I was last there about 2 years ago.
Awesome. Lots of
Very
fun museums
cool.
across the country.
Also, I found the definition.
Oh, please.
I was thinking of this was a definition that was just agreed upon in 2022 from the International Council of Museums. They had a meeting in Prague with like representatives of like 500 museums from around the world to apparently update the official definition of what constitutes as a museum that is now going to be taken over by UNESCO, adopted by UNESCO. And
They're taking it over.
They're taking it over. It says a museum is a not-for-profit permanent institution in the service of society that researches, collects, conserves, interprets, and exhibits tangible and intangible heritage. Open to the public, accessible and inclusive, museums foster diversity and sustainability. They operate and communicate ethically, professionally, and with the participation of communities, offering varied experiences for education, enjoyment, reflection, and knowledge sharing.
Good, concise, simple definition.
As soon as I found that, I was like, I know that Alex is going to be the first one to say something about this.
Great. That's going to be so effective for communicating what a museum is.
We got it. We did it, folks.
We got
Is that all of us?
Yes,
we
that is.
got him, Joe.
We got him. We've figured out what museums you should go to and what museums even are.
Yes.
Which brings us then to our next question, which is from Dino Nerd 1, who asks, traditionally, how much of an effect does a change in presidential administrations have on U.S. paleontology? And what effects do you foresee in your field during this next term? Now, this was asked, remember, in January. It is now nearing the end of May.
Yes, it is.
Many things have happened in our nation, and the effects have been quite bad.
Profound.
In fact, you might say, we wish things stopped happening.
Oh boy, do we!
It would be great.
But we've compiled kind of a group response to this that James will be delivering, and so I
Yes.
turn it now
Well, thank you.
to you.
Thank you, Dr. Monger. So usually administration changes have not had that much of an effect on science funding and like in the activities of paleontologists. There's been a little bit of an effect, right? But that's more of a congressional thing. Under normal circumstances, Congress sets the budget, right? That's the power that Congress has. So different Congresses will allocate different amounts of money to the National Science Foundation, and the president will have generally some involvement with like guiding the party for what the budget should be. But the NSF has not really been something that's been a major target for people trying to slash funding for a long time, simply because the NSF is so little of the federal budget. It's barely a rounding error, right? It's like, I think
Seriously.
the maximal budget that I've heard of was like $7 billion of funding allocation, which is not a lot of money compared to the scale of what the government spends. So even in administrations where there's been more of an emphasis on trying to slim down the federal budget, like you can't really do a lot of that from the NSF. It's kind of like saying, my house is about to go into foreclosure. I can't pay any of my credit card bills. I've decided that I will not buy a cup of coffee 1 day per year. And then declaring that you've solved the problem. That's ludicrous, right? Right, like a Starbucks cup of coffee might cost $5. If I'm tens of thousands of dollars in debt, it kind of doesn't matter if you buy the Starbucks on 1 day out of the year. Now, if you're saying every year or every day out of the year, maybe that's going to be something, but not really so here. The current administration has done quite a lot that's been pretty detrimental to what we do as paleontologists. The main thing is the kind of perpetual uncertainty over the National Science Foundation and what the future of it is. Grants have been held and then so the money's been frozen, so you can't access it, which means that you need to lay people off because you don't have money to pay their salary, or people are going without salary in the hope that their money will come back. You can't do your research activities. Some institutions have had funding completely revoked. That has been challenged in the courts, but that still creates a lot of problems. As of recently, the NSF basically seems to be not dissolved, but under a state of complete reorganization. And it appears that the NSF is going to come back in a form where there's, according to current plans, only a couple of key funding areas that are going to be supported, which are AI research, biomedicine. It's a lot of stuff that's, in my opinion, I mean, some things are important. Biomedicine's important, but that's what the NIH was for, except we've also kind of done away with a lot of the NIH. It might come back in a much more targeted, directly, kind of very, very applied sense, and not a basic science supporting foundation. Basic science sounds, I think, to a layman demeaning, but it's not. Basic science just means we're not applying the results to develop some new technology or product or something yet. And applied sciences depend on basic sciences. Engineering is applied physics, right? You can't just do engineering without having some understanding of physics underlying it. And the same is true for a lot of other fields of biology. The other difficulty that we see is that there's been some plans to develop a lot of public land. Most public land is out west in barren desert areas that people can't live in. So basically what this means is that nobody's going to live there anyway. You can't build a successful city there. There's not enough water. But you can, if you make it that it's going to be an area that's supposed to be developed, then it's not accessible for paleontological research. And one of the huge benefits of all of the US federal land is that is land that's protected from commercial fossil collection where paleontologists can work. And so BLM, National Forest Service, conservation land, national park land is a lot of where paleontologists are collecting fossils nowadays. So these changes are pretty detrimental to the administration, or not to the administration, to us, although I think also to the administration. The main thing that I think people don't really get unless you're in the field is that these grant things are not like prizes you get from the government that go into your pocket, right? If I got a $1 million NSF grant, that doesn't mean that the US government just gives me $1 million check and is here, have fun. There are incredibly stringent reporting requirements on what you are doing with the money. The money is administered by your institution with a lot of legal checks about what you are allowed to do with it. If you're ever audited by the government and you spent money on things that you did not say you were going to spend money on in the grant, that would be a very big problem. You would probably, I don't actually know offhand what the punishments are, but I believe that for minor things, it would be money is revoked. For major things, you could face federal prosecution. Mm-hmm. So it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. But the main thing that you do with these grant funds in our field is you buy equipment, usually from American companies that make high precision instrumentation. So CT scanners, microscopes, light sheets, freezers if you're doing embryological work, reagents, lab tools, computer stuff, right? Graphics card, Intel processors, NVIDIA graphics cards, all of this sort of stuff. There's a lot of equipment that you need to buy to do science. If you're CT scanning things and processing CT scans, you need all of that. That scale of funding comes from your grant funding, traditionally. Mm-hmm. The other major thing you do is that you employ people with that funding. So if I say I wrote a grant for, say it was $1 million grant, a huge portion of that is allocated to paying people to work on the project that's funded for. So I might allocate an amount of that money for a postdoc that I hire for 3 years.
Say you would do such a thing.
Right.
Who could imagine?
Who could imagine this? Right.
I don't know.
It would have been fantastic. It's a really big problem, and it's affected a tremendous number of people already. I've been pretty lucky in that my position is not a grant-funded position. I'm a state employee because I'm paid for my teaching. So I have not been subject to the kind of loss of salary and uncertainty of income, but many people have been. Many people who have been grant funded are like postdocs, graduate students, undergrad researchers, and especially fossil preparators and collection staff. And there are a lot of people losing their jobs right now. It's a pretty bad situation.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just want to emphasize one more time, this is really detrimental economically as well as scientifically. This isn't just we can't play with our toys. This is, you know, if you were running a lab, you're firing everybody you employ. And it is a really, in my opinion, a very, very stupid target for an attempt to reduce federal spending because there's no actual point to it. This is just punitive. You know, the recent budget that was just voted on adds $4 trillion to the deficit through tax cuts. And that would be like, if you cut that would be, what would $4 trillion be? 1,000 NSFs.
Conservatively,
1,000 NSFs. Right. So like, if you're cutting the budget of one NSF in half, you're not even putting a drop in the bucket. So anyway, it's not great. I think we're all optimistic that we'll be able to keep doing what we do and keep science going, but certainly the pace of discovery is going to slow down, and
in the US.
retention of in the US, and the and the retention of scientists in this country in particular is going to decrease, right?
Oh yeah,
because people are going to be forced out.
If the pace goes down in the US, it goes down everywhere.
Yes. Well, I understand what Alex is saying, but yeah, it's bad.
Yes, I know what Alex is saying, but yeah,
it's bad.
Do you have anything else to?
That's
say,
it.
James?
That's all I've got. That's my piece.
So I can speak for a little bit as well of from being someone who is at an institution that is being directly and deliberately targeted by this current administration. That like it's a nightmare. It's genuinely an actual nightmare that like not only does Harvard need to worry about all the stuff that's going on with NSF and NIH and all that stuff like every other institution is, but we are also getting letters to demand that basically Harvard turns all of its academic freedom over to the administration and access to student dorms, access to student records, all this sort of stuff, and having appointees by the current administration have final say on syllabuses and course sheets for classes and stuff. It's a truly insane list of demands, and then
which is also like hilarious to think that any of like the morons or alcoholics currently working in this administration are going to read a course syllabi.
Yeah, well,
could read a course syllabus.
Yeah, and then when Harvard stood up and said, "No, we're not gonna do that," we got a bunch of federal grants turned off. And as James was saying, it was a really a very good in practice demonstration of this is how grant funding works. It's not a big check that your university gets. It's specific earmarked portions from, I'm pretty sure it's the Treasury Department that are allotted when you make those reporting things. And that tap can be turned off, and catastrophic things happen when it does,
and not legally, I might add. It's not actually constitutional for that to be done by the executive branch, but that doesn't matter now.
And speaking of things that aren't legal, more things have happened this week. Harvard had I'll get to that, but like we've been having meetings roughly every couple weeks to every month here at Harvard of like, how are things going to change? And basically like the mood here is that people are like proud that our institution is standing up and actually taking a stand, but terrified. And not sure, having having students and postdocs asking like, how do I finish my PhD?
Mhm.
How do I finish my studies here? And especially with this latest punitive measure from the current administration of, because we didn't bend the knee and kowtow to the insane demands of a despot, we are they are trying to take away our ability to have international students, which make up over a quarter of our student population here at Harvard. And and the international students are something that really like keeps Harvard going, not just in the sense of bringing in people from diverse backgrounds and different countries just helps strengthen the student population with different ideas and people from different backgrounds. But international students pay more. And I've heard people say, or done myself serious mental self-harm by reading comments on posts about this, of people saying that like every one of these international students is taking up a slot that an American student could have taken. And this could not be further from the truth, because international students pay more in tuition. It allows Harvard to bring in to have more incentives and have more ability to sponsor students from lower income backgrounds in the U.S. Just this year, even though it feels like it was 3,000 lifetimes ago, Harvard actually expanded its low income a low income student program to a frankly wild level that previously, James, you can I guess James, Alex, and Dalton, you can correct me on this. Most Ivy League institutions cap financial aid when household income it's like $160,000.
It varies by institution.
It varies
and
by
it's changed a lot
institution?
recently.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, there's generally a sliding scale where there's a level, if you make below it, you don't pay any tuition, and then there's an intermediate range where you pay some proportion of your tuition, and then if you're above a threshold, you don't get any financial aid.
Yeah, and Harvard just expanded theirs to make it so every student coming from a family with a cumulative household income of less than $200,000 gets free college. And not just like free tuition, but it's free tuition, free room and board, and they even have a like there's a Kickstart program for people going into business degrees where they get a certain stipend after they graduate to help kickstart whatever business endeavor they're doing. I think it's like $5,000 or something like that. And they even have a like cold weather winter coat program to make sure that students get if they're coming from places that don't really have New England winters, then it's like, oh, here's free warm clothing. We don't want you to freeze to death on your way to school. But
Scott,
it's tight. It's wild. And the reason why we're able to do this is because we're bringing in money from internet very frequently from international students who are paying more. Yes, Alex, you were going to say.
have you considered being pointlessly and needlessly cruel, though?
Yes. I personally haven't because of who I am as a person.
I see.
I've heard that that can enrich you beyond your wildest dreams.
Indeed.
It's all just one of the dumbest ways to. I mean, it's not dumb. It's intentionally. This is all to punish people who were critical of the prior administration by this president.
Well, the funny thing is, it's also just catching. Like, even if you weren't like openly, if you were just like Joe Schmo, like not everyone actually. I think Christine Ohm's letter is like, Harvard is a communist institution, which like
they said that they were.
Are you joking?
They're giving $5,000 to business majors to start up companies in Silicon Valley.
Like,
Yeah.
That's a communist
Also-
institution.
Also, listen,
Cut that.
no,
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 don't
no,
cut
it's
that.
okay.
That's hilarious.
No, we're not cutting that because here's the thing.
It's true.
I went to an Ivy League institution as an undergrad, so I'm going to just take a moment to dispel the rumors. Many people would say you were taught by these communist Marxist professors and your brain was filled with lies of liberal. No, it wasn't. I took geology classes.
The CIA recruits from Yale.
Yes, the CIA recruits from Yale. None of my professors were Marxists or communists.
They don't
I
even
know
teach
that because
Marx.
they don't teach. Right. It is not. At best, this is a lie that people tell themselves to feel better about the fact that they did not go to schools like this. And they're like, well, at least I didn't learn a bunch of communism at Yale. You don't learn communism at Yale. You don't.
If Harvard indoctrinated people into a communist way of thinking, Ted Cruz wouldn't have gotten a degree from here.
Or let alone the fact that like J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs and Lehman Brothers, if they don't still exist anymore. Every major investment bank and financial firm has like recruiting events on these campuses. They are not communist institutions. And scientists are not
Vance
enemies of the government. J.D. Vance went to Yale.
Mm-hmm.
As did George W. Bush.
Famously, it was a big deal in his terrible book about how much he
About how he grew
disregards
up
his
in
family.
Ohio or something, right?
Right. Anyway, my point is this. These are not Marxist institutions. Marxism
No.
barely exists in the institution's campus. And I mean, to be clear, like most people I went to school with would not have described themselves as communists or Marxist either. Like this is not a thing where the professors are and are not and the students are, or either way of this. Like most people I went to school with were like, I don't know, like vaguely liberal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there were a few people, but there were also a few people who were pretty hard. Like I went to school with somebody who was like, no, like I'm a fascist. Like these people existed on campus. I also went to school with somebody who was like, I'm like a hardcore communist. And I was like, oh, like in like Norway? And he's like, no. Like I supported Mao. Or my family supported Mao, and I support everything he did. And I was like, that's neat. There's a diversity. Most people were like, I don't know.
I think kids should get lunch in school, and maybe people shouldn't go bankrupt from getting a disease.
Right. Yeah.
Shouldn't.
All very, very controversial opinions.
Did I say should?
Yes, shouldn't.
The did not come out with enough oomph.
I knew many people who were like, well, I'm socially liberal, but fiscally, we got to balance the budget. Right. Which is like a pretty normal median American thing to think. These are not Marxist holdout institutions. These are normal places with people who know a lot about things, who are hired to teach those things and get research like supported mostly from the federal government or private foundations, because that's how you drive the advancement of knowledge in a country. And that's how you ensure that your students are taught by the very best people in all of their fields. I loved going to a school like this. I loved going to Brown because my professors in the geology department were leading geologists in the world. I only really understood this, like the full scope of it, after I graduated, when people were like, wait, did you take a class with like that person? I'm not going to name any names here because they don't want to be a part of this rant. And I was like, yeah. Like, they taught my intro geology class. And they're like, do you know that that's the person who like inspired me to become a scientist? And I was like, no, I didn't know that. They were just my college professor, right? It's a really, really amazing thing. And when you want to do anything, if it's business or law or history or music or science or filmmaking or whatever, having the best people around teaching you is generally a good thing. And I think what's unfortunately going to happen as a result of this is that we're not going to be able to foster that sort of talent in a younger generation. So there's going to be a real generational gap between the heights that people reach, right?
Yes.
Older generations will have just been able to acquire more knowledge and skill and become better teachers and scientists because they have more resources to do so.
And we don't have AI. I can read. I'll be able to read.
Right. And then as a result, we're going to have a continued kind of dumbing down that will take a very long time to fix. This is a very bad situation for the sciences. I think we should probably move on unless anybody has something key to say. Yeah.
I actually there were just a couple more points I really quickly wanted to make on here. Because I want to preempt some things that I've seen people talk about in comments that, one, talking about like phrasing grants and stuff as like the government just giving institutions money. No, these are one of the big things that it seems like nobody actually wants to talk about is that these are competitive grants. Everyone applies for these all around the US, and if and they are awarded to labs and researchers, and it's not that it's like, oh, it's just the government funneling money into Harvard or into Yale or into something like that. It's that they're going to individual researchers or to fund individual programs and stuff. And the other point is, as everyone, as is inevitable for it to be said in the comment section of any video talking about this or any post about this, what about these Ivy League institutions like Harvard with their insane, ridiculous endowments? Can't they just afford it? Why do they need to get government money?
Not if you're taxing them 23% now.
And the big thing around the endowments is that people don't really understand how they work. I didn't understand how it worked when I first got to Harvard. I remember like trying to like find stuff to put in the lab and just going like, it's Harvard, we can afford it. And it's just like, no, the way the endowment works is it's incredibly partitioned up into very, very, very small little amounts that are only to be used for incredibly specific circumstances. And like specific funds can like we have a fund for like specimen acquisition, and we've been having debates of like, does finding a fossil that's from another country, making a cast of it and accessioning that cast into our collections, but returning the physical fossil to the original country, does that count as specimen acquisition? Can we legally use the funds from this fund to pay for it? Sort of things. Like, it's very specific, very in the weeds sort of stuff that people don't understand. And the final point that so I guess to wrap that up is, it is not that simple of Harvard just has a giant check with 45 billion written on it or something like, or Scrooge McDuck-esque giant vat of money.
It's like saying like, oh, you lost your job, that's fine, why don't you use your investments?
Exactly.
It's like yeah, the whole point is we don't want to do that. Like, right, yeah, I lost my job, I do have money saved, thank God. I would rather not use the limited money I have saved.
But are you, a communist?
Right.
But it's like that if your investments were, you're only allowed to take out this much money to buy specifically Oscar Mayer hot dogs.
Right. Or like for an example that I think makes sense to maybe most people, I hope, if you have a Roth IRA and there's money in it, it doesn't matter how much is in there. You can't use it for a lot of circumstances before you reach a certain age, right? I think, and I mean, there's penalties there are things you could take it out for, but like you get a penalty for it, right? Like, I think you can pay for a wedding, but you pay tax, but no penalty if you're like under 59 and a half or whatever the hell it is. It doesn't really matter, but it's money that you have to your name that's not accessible for any purpose you want. So even if I had a $1 billion in a Roth IRA or something like that, like to use a ludicrous example, and I like wanted a new car, I can't buy that to the same degree that you're not allowed to live on the money. Like, and I could do other things with the money. Like there's a provision where you pay a huge tax penalty if you like want to buy a house, but that's not what I need the money for. If you're paying salary and none of the money in the endowment is like exists to pay salary, tough shit. You got to fire people. And it's generally not good to be in a situation where you have to fire a lot of people. No. These things tend to combine to form bad economic events that everybody dislikes quite a lot.
And there is a sense of like callousness to like the amount of job loss that I sense from not everyone, but like certainly people who are very gung-ho about this, where it's like, oh, well, they weren't good jobs anyway. Like those jobs didn't matter. They're fake jobs. Or I was like, even if at your deepest level you think that like what someone's doing is not valuable, like how uncaring of a person do you have to be? Like imagine losing your job. Imagine not having a job. It's terrible, right? Like it's like, oh, go get a better job. How often do you have to see the like, oh, you know, yes, let me go to the job tree where jobs, like it's not easy to get jobs. It's going to become harder to get jobs as the economy continues to go into a death spiral, right? Like don't wish that on people. And it's like, oh yeah, like you're a highly specialized person who's gone into this field that you pursued your whole life. Those circumstances of the world has changed. Your dreams are crushed. Go do something else. Go do what? Right? Like, come on, use your brains and think about it.
Yeah. And a couple other just quick points, sorry, that I want to bring up here before we move on is one that I remembered I wanted to address from something that James said earlier, because James, you did call out that some of the jobs that are more at risk in paleontology include preparators.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to say I'm okay. I'm not grant funded. So like my job is also not directly at risk. But the final thing that I'll wrap up with is that some of these we're being affected in paleontology, well, in research in general, but in paleontology in my specific case, directly by some things that aren't funding things as well. And to give a personal anecdote, we had 2 fieldwork trips planned for this summer. One of which I was going to be already gone for. We were planning on leaving for that one on like the 21st or 22nd of May. And I'm here. That's been canceled. And that's been canceled specifically because of the immigration policies and the crackdowns of the current administration. And our lab at Harvard has a lot of international people in it. And we had to cancel this trip because we were going to go do field work in Nova Scotia. And we had a meeting basically saying we can't guarantee that everyone's going to be able to be let back into the country. Everyone's here legally. Everyone has their paperwork, but tough students are getting abducted off the streets. Like there are ICE raids happening all around us in Boston, Somerville, and Cambridge and stuff, and surrounding areas near Boston and all around the country. And like by the nature of us having to cross at a land border and talk to Border Patrol and like have more extended interactions with them with like, hi, here's our paperwork for we're allowed to do this in Canada. Hi, here's our paperwork for we're allowed to bring this back from Canada. We were like, I don't think we can risk this right now. And so we've had to cancel field work to do this. And it's not great. It's not great.
And on a little more broadly, like there was a town hall meeting for the SVP, the Society of Vertebrate Paleo, yesterday. And just in general, a lot of people for the annual meeting are very concerned about attending because this year it is in Birmingham in the UK. So a lot of international students that are currently in the US, for example, basically can't attend because they're afraid that they won't be able to be let back into the country when they're done. And this is a huge problem, obviously, for those students because the SVP meeting is very important for our careers, for networking, and for getting jobs. Like that'll happen anymore. But the other end of it is that this is going to be bad, I think, for the SVP because the meeting is the main way that the society makes money and keeps itself running. And so I'm concerned about that aspect of it as well. I think paleo in particular right now is going to have a bad time.
Yeah. It's a tough situation. It's a bad time. And I'm just going to say one more thing, and then I think we should probably end this.
Yeah, we really should.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sentiment that I've seen right now of like basically that things like basic sciences and things like paleontology don't matter, and therefore it's not like worth federal money anyway. I've got 2 things to say in response to that. Like, one, it's basically none of the federal budget. Like, the amount of money that's dedicated to paleontology every year by federal research granting is minuscule compared to Social Security, Medicaid, and the military, right? Those are the 3 things. If you're trying to cut spending, you cut one of those 3 things. The rest is like all, I think, less than 10%.
You cut 2 of those 3 things.
Well,
one of those things is never touched.
Well, but I understand, Alex, but I'm trying to explain the basic math here.
Sure.
Right. you have to cut one of those or multiple to make any substantial dent in the federal budget, right? So that's number one. It's basically no money, so it's not really worthwhile to unemploy a lot of people as like to do this. Even for all of the, even if we're just talking about the whole NSF, there are thousands of people employed via the NSF. It's not a good value proposition. Right?
And hey, you know what employed people do? Even if you think their job is stupid, do you know what employed people do? Is they spend their money on things.
Right.
They buy food and objects and things that are manufactured.
And they pay rent in your house that you own as a landlord.
They, make the economy work with the money that they get from their employment.
Right. Exactly. And number two is like, even if you don't think anything that they're doing is worthwhile, it's like, great. I don't think a lot of venture capital is worthwhile, personally.
Almost none of it, actually.
That's fine. Right. I think there are a lot of things that people do that I don't think are worthwhile. I think there are people who make like modern Godzilla movies. I don't think that is a worthwhile endeavor. But you know what? It employs people, so it's fine.
Godzilla, job creator.
Right. Godzilla's a job creator. There are people who run like, modern art museums. I don't really like that very much, but that's fine. It employs people and it brings people happiness. And it's kind of what I'm getting to. If you're watching this channel, you probably are self-selected to be somebody who's interested in paleontology and dinosaurs to a pretty high level. But many people like this stuff. And the whole point of the human experience is that humans are the one animal that's ever learned to ask questions about the environment in which it lives and the history of that environment and the context they live in, right? This is what makes us people, right? If you were okay with getting rid of all things that are not practical or are useless in some degree, I ask, are you like happy to live in a completely featureless concrete room as long as the air is the right temperature and you have enough food and water to eat and drink and you have like a modicum of a bed to sleep on? All of your basic,
flavorless and tasteless.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The food is all tasteless and featureless. It doesn't bring you any joy, but it is meeting your nutritional needs, right?
Wow.
Are you meeting
a Silicon Valley tech executive?
Right. If that sounds like, hey, that's great because all of my basic physiological needs are being met, I suppose I'm happy for you for viewing the world that way, but I don't think that you really think that, right? You want to live in a nice house, or you want to live in a place you want to live, and you want to eat food that tastes good, and you want to drink water that tastes like something and isn't like kind of tasteless. You want to drink alcohol sometimes, maybe, or you want to drink soda, or you want to eat candy. You want to see art. You want to know things about the world beyond your blank, featureless room. You don't want to live like a reptile in a terrarium because you're a person. And I just can't really wrap my head around the idea that a society that is jettisoning anything that anybody could argue is useless because it doesn't have an incredibly high dollar return value is a society that's advancing, right? The great societies that we like, and I mean, I'm speaking to you if you're somebody who disagrees with me here. If you look back on Rome or like old American architecture with ornate architectural details on the buildings, and you think, man, we really knew how to make things back then, you agree with me. Right? You don't like modern brutalist buildings that are just poured concrete with no like ornamental features or aesthetic quality. Neither do I. There's a reason for that. It's because it sucks. And they shouldn't have made a movie about a person inventing that architectural style that doesn't end with him being shot. But that's kind of besides the point. Well, I don't know if it ends with him being shot. I didn't see the movie because out of protest. But
I don't think
that's how the brutalist ends.
I also don't think it's what it's about, actually.
I don't know what it's about. Okay, we'll cut that joke.
But Lamau,
right? If you,
that's good. That's good stuff.
So,
no,
that's great. If you don't if you want a world that is beautiful in its aesthetic quality and makes you happy, and is doing things beyond just meeting your basic physiological needs, you understand that a society should also be doing those things. Great societies and culture are the ones that invest in things that are not directly turning a profit or yielding a practical return. The city of ancient Rome wasn't just mines and farm fields and logging camps, right? They were using those things to build temples and amphitheaters and beautiful like paved streets that were practically functional, but also had beautiful aesthetic qualities about them. And even if like paleontology is not going to cure cancer, which is also not something we're funding anymore anyway, so that argument's kind of out the window.
Yeah.
Or, you know, design a better battery or extract more oil out of a particular well. The value there is that it's something that humans as a species want to know more about. And that is, I think, enough value for a few people, a very small number of people, to be employed doing it, and is enough value to not say, well, we're just going to go after you and make sure that those people can't have their jobs because that's just what we need to do. There's not a beauty in tightening your belt, right? And we don't need to tighten our belt in that way as a country, especially when we're expanding federal spending and raising our debt ceilings all the time anyway. This is just pointlessly cruel. There's a degree to which I'd feel less bad about it if everything were being cut, because like if the country really couldn't sustain it and it was just, we're doing a blanket 10% cut to every category of spending we're doing, I'd say like that sucks and has bad effects on us, but it's at least consistent, right? This is to target us. And by us, I mean scientists, not particularly paleontologists, but our field is very affected.
Yes.
So, well, and I would just, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, so I'm going to do this is a very short, but like, you know, there might be some people who are like, oh, well, it's okay that the government isn't spending money on this because we can get like the beauty of society, that element, that aesthetic element, that pleasing element can be generated by the private sector, which I'm sorry, but like the conclusion of the private sector is the strip mall. And I think everyone agrees that that is a bleak and awful thing. Like, it's nice to stop by, but like, come on. You need...
No,
it's okay to spend public money.
Yeah. Filigree doesn't generate shareholder value.
Right.
Which is also, I mean, there's, and this is like also something that's under threat by the Trump administration, but there's like a federal loans office that makes risky investments that like private companies will not do. So that's like most of the atomic energy stuff is funded by loans from here. And so like private banks won't take loans out because it's not a sure thing. It's not a sure investment. And that's why a lot of these alternate energies, which people claim to be really into, don't get funded. And then the organization turns around and is like, we're reducing the amount of money that this federal loan office has, which is like, okay, so you just don't really care.
Yeah, it's rich that banks won't make risky investments and then will go underwater because they bought too many credit default swaps.
Yes.
Right.
Lamau said the Scorpion.
Indeed, Lamau.
But I think we've talked enough about the economy and enough about dour, sad things. And we should move on to our next question. But thank you for that question. It was, in January, probably like, oh, very curious. And now we're not in January anymore, folks.
No longer curious. Just
I wish to know less.
Yeah.
It was very incredibly short. It was when we had our meeting earlier this week. It was funny that like we left it and spirits were kind of high after that. This meeting was on Tuesday, by the way, and it was before worse things happened. And spirits were a little bit high, but it was kind of darkly funny that I was chatting with people afterwards. And I was like, wow, that was honestly not as bad as I worried it would be. And then we kind of just had the realization that it wasn't because things got better. It was that things weren't significantly worse from the last time we had a meeting. It was like, oh, the angle of descent hasn't further increased by that point. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yes.
Next.
Well, our next question comes just from Dinodom, who asks, what's everyone's favorite museum and or exhibit and or mount? Andor. Peak. Watch it.
Andor.
After this episode's over, go watch Andor. But Scott, you're up first.
Museums are built on hope.
Good stuff.
I will say that I'll do specifically exhibit. And I think that the one that always never fails to just hit me like it's the first time I've seen it was and still is the Barosaurus in the rotunda of the AMNH. The Barosaurus with the little air quotes baby Barosaurus, because isn't that a Catadocus? Actually.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh well.
and the Allosaurus. Every single time I see that, I always end up just involuntarily just craning my neck up and just going, God. And I remember one time I was like walking through the AMH when it was getting ready for some event, and the whole space was cleared out, and they had these gorgeous lights on it, of like blue lights or something. I stood there for like 5 minutes and just looked at it. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
Indeed.
Yes, Alex, you're up next.
Well. If it isn't me. Well, thank you, Dinodom. For me, I think I also fall into the American Museum. It's goated in the sauce, as the kids are saying. They did a feathered dinosaur exhibit a little while ago. This was maybe 10 years ago now. That's so good. Maybe not quite 10. A while ago. And it's fantastic. It's delightful. It's like a great. It felt to me like it's like this is a special exhibit that is like the culmination of kind of the whole thesis of the American Museum's interest in dinosaurs of the last 20 years. They put their ankle in it, so to speak. And then I just love the layout of the fossil halls generally.
Cool. Thank you. I have an answer for all three components. My favorite museum is the AMH. I like most museums. I like many museums. I love a lot of museums, but I think the AMH is my favorite. My favorite exhibit is probably their Fossil Hall. But I want to give some shout outs to the Fossil Hall at Utah. It's very cool. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. And some traveling exhibits that aren't paleontological, but there's some traveling exhibits I've seen on the Titanic and on Genghis Khan that came to the Denver Museum when I was in middle school, high school. So it's been a very long time now. Both of those were excellent. The Titanic one had I remember you got a card at the beginning of a name, and it was like, this is who you are. And then it had your name and your class of ticket, and they had replications of all the different rooms of different classes. So it's like you could see oh, this is where I would stay. And there were kind of characters who would walk around and look at your ticket and talk to you as if you were the person, which, when I was 10, I was like, I don't know what to respond to. I don't know how to respond to this. But it was so cool. And then at the end of the museum, you got to see if you lived or died. And there was a big
Did you
wall.
die?
No, I lived because I was Charles Ismay, who I believe was the owner of the White Star Line. Let me confirm that briefly.
I think when I did it, I lived and I was a lower class one, and I don't remember the name of the person or not, but.
Yes, I was the chairman and managing director of the White Star Line and the highest ranking White Star official to survive the sinking of the Titanic by happenstance. And then at the end, there was a big wall of ice, and it was you can touch this, and this is as cold as the water was. And it was that was horrible. That was horribly cold. And then the Genghis Khan exhibit was just fascinating to learn so much about, Genghis Khan and Mongolia. And it was it did a good job presenting, hey, here's a person who did a lot of horrible things. But also invented a lot of interesting things, like the concept of diplomatic immunity, and passports.
Wait,
I think.
What?
Yeah, he had couriers who he would give specific notes to. That was basically hey, take this, and if you go on my behest to talk to someone, and you show them this note, it basically is hey, if you do any harm to this person, I'm going to kill you, and
harm
there will
to
be
you.
There will be severe consequences.
Anything you do to my courier, I'll do back to you.
But he also, I think, extended that courtesy to other people coming in. I think it's been a long time. So, don't come at me in the comments. My favorite museum mount is there's two Barosaurus that contend to it, the Rotunda one, but Scott already highlighted that one. So I'll give the other Barosaurus I know of a shout, which is at the Utah Museum. They have kind of a reconstruction of a potential kind of Cleveland Lloyd scenario. And there's a Barosaurus that's sinking into water.
Scenario.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a great mount. It's a Barosaurus that's kind of half submerged, so only it's the rib cage and the arms and the neck are coming out of the ground, and then there's a bunch of Allosaurus of different size coming to take bites of it as it struggles. And also a shout out to the Rocket Rex, which is what people sometimes affectionately call the Tyrannosaurus Rex mount at the Denver Museum, which is reconstructed to imitate the or to honor the Daspletosaurus on the cover of the Dinosaur Heresies. So it's like reared completely back up. It's kind of
that's
sitting on
so
its tail,
cool.
and it's got 1 foot huge in there. I mean, it's like 25 plus feet tall. It is one of the best ways to show how big a T-Rex is.
It's
in
so
my opinion.
cool. Having now finally seen it, it's cool.
You don't say.
And James, you're up.
Yes. So my favorite museum is the AMNH because it's the best one. There are many other good ones, but it's the best one.
But this one is mine.
Exactly. And I like it very much. I've loved it since I was a child. It inspired me to become a scientist. And then I got to do my PhD there, which was great. I love a lot of the AMNH exhibits. Favorite Andor exhibit, I'm going to just say Andor. Not doing the and for this one. It's fine. It's hard to choose a favorite exhibit. There's a lot of good ones, but I don't know. I actually kind of like the AMNH fossil halls because I think it's good to challenge the public and be like, here's a difficult concept and we've organized our halls according to it, instead of accepting that people don't know about phylogeny and then not trying to expose them to the topic. But there's many other great exhibits. I like all of them. Anytime I get to see dinosaurs in a museum, it's fantastic. My favorite mount is actually not at any museum right now, as far as I'm aware of, but it's the Treebold Paleontology mount of Daspletosaurus attacking a baby Avaceratops. This was in the poster hall at SVP in 2016 in Salt Lake City. It is so
Hell of a
cool.
first poster hall to go to for
It
Dalton
really
and my
spoiled me for other poster halls. I thought all
every
of them were like that.
subsequent SVP. I'm like, this sucks. And
Yeah,
you're
where's
like,
the Daspletosaurus?
It's so cool, and it's like it's just so kinetic. You can really feel the animal like shifting its weight and craning upward as it's lifting this baby like ceratopsian. And it's like the baby ceratopsian's limbs are being swept. Like it really feels like it's all happening really quickly.
It's
It's amazingly done.
It's awesome.
So that's my favorite dinosaur mount I've ever seen.
Amelia.
I think I can do all three. It's hard to pick. My gut reaction to favorite museum is obviously the MPM. Like that's where I grew up going. That is probably why I'm here in part. Within that, the Hell Creek diorama is just incredible. Like it's, I don't know. Yeah, the Rex is dated, but like the dead Triceratops, Torosaurus, whatever it is on the ground with just all of its intestines spilling out looks so real. And the way they have it's really dark, it's really loud. Well, not really super loud, but they've got like a subwoofer or something in there, so it almost you can just kind of feel the room vibrating like footsteps almost. There's lightning every now and then. It's such a vibe. It's so cool.
That sounds awesome.
It's amazing.
Oh wait, I've seen it. It's very cool.
Yeah. It's better in person, but no, it's fantastic. For mount, I think it's a tie. Maybe not a tie, but for Mosasaurus, it's obviously Bunker at KU because it's a 45-foot long lizard spiraling up this entryway in the museum. It's just unbelievable. Or at like the only other one that's coming to mind that like I remember being like just struck by was at the North Dakota Museum in Bismarck. There is is it bison latifrons with the insane if there's a bison latifrons like head bowed like fighting off 2 or 3 Smilodon.
That's cool.
It's so cool. It's so big and because it's like at the Peabody Museum the way that the elk is mounted where it's actually you get, even though like it's cool when their head held up and it's like really impressive. I think it's even cooler when they bow them down like that, like the one at the Yale Museum or this bison in North Dakota. It's just ungodly. It's not okay how big the horns are, but it's very, very cool.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that question, Dinodom. And our next question comes from King Zasshu, who asks a question unrelated to paleontology. What is your... He said that's not me editorializing. What is your favorite fictional creature trope? I.e. hulking behemoth, sly, shadow, skitterer, etc. Scott, you're up first.
Can I go later?
You can go last if you want time to think about it.
I do want time to think about this.
Scott, we'll come back to you.
Okay.
And we'll start with Alex this time.
The answer I gave is an answer I agree with, which is good that I agree with the answer I gave. Which is I like incredibly intentional designs. Like if you come up with an idea, it's like, oh, what would be scary about this creature or cool about this creature? It's that it's like, I don't know, some kind of predator, and then the design is like based exclusively around that cool thought, and it's like very obvious. Intentionality is, I think, what I answered. I would like to follow up with what I detest. So I'm a big fan of. You might not know this. I like spooky cosmic horror things. And
Really?
I generally kind of despise how elements of that horror are depicted in film. If you're doing that, abstract. Cthulhu is not a big, giant tentacle monster. A movement, a mountain moved is how he's described. So, like, if you're going to do something cosmic, make it weird, make it unfamiliar. Don't let me see a second of it. And I think Galactus is lame.
It's like that movie where J.K. Simmons is a bathroom. He's like a hole in a bathroom.
Yeah, that one's fun. He had yeah. Well, yeah. I don't want to. We might have to censor what that movie's about, but
it's good. It's fun cosmic horror.
Yeah.
What?
Actually, I think I do have an answer here.
Go for it.
I can, and honestly, Alex, you've kind of really narrowed down at least some feelings to me about it. That, like, I like it when it seems like what you were saying, like there's an intentionality to it, but more so of like you thought out like aspects of whatever creature this is. Like, one of the things that I think is really fun about Monster Hunter is that, like, does a lot of it make sense? Of course not. It's breaking all of these laws of physics and all this sort of stuff, but there are like levels of like like biological air quotes plausibility to a lot of the critters in that it is not surprising when they put out art books and it's like, oh, we have full skeletals and muscular diagrams of how this animal would actually function, and like, oh, actually, like oh, this giant ice dragon, the way it's actually doing it is making ice is exactly how an air conditioning unit does it, where it's actually just converting it's making this massive amount of heat that it needs to vent off while it's creating this ice. Oh yeah, well, that thing doesn't really have lightning powers. It just has a symbiotic relationship with bioelectric insects and stuff. I'm like, that's fun. I find that stuff really interesting and fun to think about.
Big up.
It is. That's a good answer. So what I have written down, I think I was also kind of maybe in a bad mood when I wrote this because I started off with something I don't like, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's actually not something I don't like so much as it's just something I'm getting tired of. I think we've reached saturation of this design. It's not a bad design, but let's start doing other things, which is I think we're done with spindly, long-limbed quadrupeds, i.e. Cloverfield monster, i.e. the monsters from A Quiet Place and
the Death Angels,
Amazon.
you mean?
No.
Oh, they have a name?
Yeah, it's so lame.
What? No.
Kind of the monsters from that Chris Pratt time travel movie, which I remember enjoying, but maybe the monsters didn't look like that. I don't know. But you know what I mean. It's even the Mutos to an extent, although I do like the Mutos.
Yeah.
We can move on.
I completely forget what that Chris Pratt time travel movie is.
The Tomorrow War, right?
Yes, I think that's what it was called.
Yes.
That just made me think of Edge of Tomorrow, which has infinitely cooler monsters.
Oh my god,
that movie was a shock in terms of how good it was.
That movie
I love that
so
movie.
much ass.
Yeah, I saw it unintentionally as part of a double feature, and I think I ended up liking it more than the other.
What was the other thing?
It might have been Man of Steel. I don't remember.
What a wild double feature that must have been.
Oh, that's not even close. That's not fair to Man of Steel, though.
I remember I saw Man of Steel on that drive-in. I don't remember if it was part of that.
Was it a drive-in? Oh,
yes.
my god.
So yes, we had our fun with those. Let's move on. Something I do like, and it's not really a trope, I would say, but like I like it when designs incorporate some degree of like folklore to them, even if it's not supposed to be a creature that's directly represented, like that is directly folkloric. If it like takes inspiration from something that is, in the area of the world in which it is. I mean, I say that the things I'm about to give as an example are definitely obviously just directly like supposed to be these creatures from folklore, but like the various creatures in Shang-Chi, I remember that movie. I enjoyed it. Other people don't. Your mileage may vary with the movie Shang-Chi, but I really like the creature design. There's like this mythical kind of land that they go to, and it's a bunch of stuff that looks like, the kind of dog dragon things that are in at like Chinese temples, and they've got a dragon that looks really cool. That are all very clearly inspired by kind of Chinese folklore and art, and they look really good. So I think that's cool, and we should do it more often.
That's so funny. Because I was just thinking, like, that is because that movie. I'm not a hater, but that is also that movie commits the sin of my earlier complaint, which is that it does the cosmic horror and it's just a big bat with tentacles.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they hadn't framed it as cosmic horror and it was like, hey, here's the bat monster,
then it
would
be cool.
Monster.
Then it works, but that's not what they did.
So what I like dragons. They're cool. I don't know. I don't really think about things in terms of like creature tropes. That's just not like the vocabulary I've really used to conceptualize this. I've liked many different takes on dragons I've seen though. I think they're fun. I think it's a pretty natural extension of being a dinosaur person is you like fictional dragons. I like all the different versions I've seen of them. They make me happy. And I think big meat-eating reptile with wings is a good design trope. Which is one of the reasons why for the upcoming Jurassic Park movie, I think the Mutodons actually look kind of cool.
I was shocked to like those designs.
Ooh,
right.
Can I say a very, very quick little dragon pet peeve?
What's that?
Stop trying to classify them. Stop going, oh no, that's not actually a dragon. That's a wyvern. Shut up. They're all dragons. Everything's a dragon.
It doesn't...
For like 90% of dragon lore, they were like dog-sized weasel rats.
I have committed this sin in the past, and it's because I was a dragonology kid, and it all comes from dragonology.
It does. It drives me insane, the unactuallying of, oh no, that's not a dragon, that's a what is the Chinese one, a lung. Yeah, it's like, oh no, that one's a wyvern. It's shut up.
Well,
they're not real.
I like the one that's not a dragon, that's a lung. It's like, that's not a butterfly, that's a mariposa.
It's very funny to me, Scott, that you're driven insane by actualing about taxonomy, and yet here we are.
No. I'm driven insane about actualing about taxonomy that isn't real. If dragons were real, then fine. Of course.
Is any taxonomy real?
Yes.
More real than dragons?
Yes. We're not college freshmen anymore, or first year PhD students.
Hey,
yes, taxonomy is real. It's okay.
We already had a segment about anti-intellectualism. We will not do this again.
It's fine. Here, I'll defend Dalton a little bit here. I also was a little bit like this when I was younger, and I think what I didn't get is that the Dragonology books were not like a widely accepted classification of folklore.
No, it was just a fun book for kids.
It was like a fun book that somebody wrote.
It's a fun thought experiment. It's fun and interesting, but don't use it to bully people online.
Well, right. And it's like, it's not like anybody in history has ever been like, yes, a wyvern, that's like a dragon, but when it's got only 2 wings and 2 legs instead of more. It's like a heraldry symbol.
Yeah.
It's not, it's fine. It's fine. Be
it's something
normal
you
about
made
dragons,
up, you
but they
killed
look
to
cool.
impress people.
Right.
Amelia, what are your favorite creature tropes?
I think critters. I like a lot of them. I've been trying to think. I'm like, there's not really the most consistent pattern is dragon-esque. The other pattern I think about or that I've noticed is like it's the same. It's the same as it is for me with cars, like which cars I like. I tend to like things with edges more than things that are smoothed out or bubbly. I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
No, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Edgelord.
Right.
Amelia the Edgelord.
Wow. Be nice.
Thank you. I don't know. yeah, the theme is dragon. Like I'm trying to think. I'm like, all right, what are some of my favorite designs? I mean, I have my Maleficent here. That's one of, in my opinion, one of the best dragon depictions of all time. Somewhat recently
Yeah,
rewatched
that
the
one's
movie,
really
and it was
good.
just like that whole scene is just phenomenal, incredible. I also just remembered that I really like all of the designs in the live action Alice in Wonderland, the first one. Like
Oh, whoa.
they they all just are really good and like kind of the right balance of like, yeah, it's a Disney movie, but Tim Burton was involved and like I don't know, it's right without being too one way or the other. It just worked.
The Jabberwocky. I remember the Jabberwocky looking pretty cool in that thing.
That's what I thought about first. It kicks ass, and I saw it in 3D, and that was the effect that worked the best back when that was a thing. When 3D movies were a thing, I don't know if those are still a thing, but it was right when they were
this December.
But it was right when they were really popular. And there's the scene with the Jabberwocky where it like sticks its head forward and its tongue comes out, and that was the most effective 3D I've ever seen in a movie, and it kicked ass. I don't know, as I've said, as is obvious from our Jurassic World series, like I do really like both the Indominus and the Indoraptor as just kind of dragon-y things. Like that's kind of, I guess, what I classify them, why I like them. I don't know. Yeah, I guess dragon is the unifying theme, but I like other things too. I tend to like worm things. I tend to like oceany things. Like I was also thinking about
Worm
Davy
is a good
Jones
shape.
and the Pirates of the
I like a
I
good
was
squid
thinking of-
monster.
Well, that's Squids. I was Davy Jones and the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That second movie, like all of the ships. Like, well, first of all, the ship itself kicks ass, and then all the things on the ship. It's just like they're also creative.
Yeah,
Like,
God, that movie's so cool.
and yeah,
it has
Anyway.
the sauce,
yeah.
as they say.
Is it goated in the sauce?
It's coated in the sauce, as we say and no one else says.
Oh!
No, as the
And
kids
I
say.
feel this. I think it falls into worm or sea. I don't know, but that the Dawn Treader movie has the sea serpent that I also remember.
Oh, I never saw that one.
Really liking.
What is that?
The Narnia movie?
The Narnia. Yeah, it's the Narnia.
Okay.
It was my favorite one to read, although I don't think it's the best of the movies that exist. But like, it's basically they go around to different places and encounter weird shit. And one of those weird things is a sea serpent. And in the movie, it's like this big evil eel thing that like at some point splits down the middle into more teeth. It's insane. It's really cool.
Oh, that
like-
is really cool.
Now,
Scott.
Amelia, when you say you like worm things, do you mean WORM or WYR? I'm gonna
Both.
kill myself.
Do you know?
Both.
Do you know
All
that
right,
it's
they're
that
Magic the
reel of the
Gathering,
guy doing like
relax.
the English language test of like, what do you call this? And he's like,
Worm.
Yes, a ghoul,
A pixie.
No, because a worm is a very specific type of dragon. I'm gonna.
a sarcophagus.
A hemomancer.
It's
my
so
favorite one.
funny.
You know, the Narnia movies, at the risk of starting a Stunlock that I'm going to just nip in the bud, we watched them recently because I think my sister hadn't ever seen them. And by recently, I mean a few years ago. Very impressed by the like art direction and production design. The movies themselves, not fantastic. I like watching movies where one thing goes like a little bit harder than it needs to. Like they're very detailed, well made and well produced movies.
Oh,
that
yeah.
just
Well, someone
don't do
cared
all
at
that
some
much.
point.
Yeah.
Right. Although I think for the first one, they cared a little bit more. I think they thought it was
Yeah.
going to be their Harry Potter, and they were.
Yeah.
I was recently thinking about like how much care went into the like Harry Potter movies versus all the other like young adult novel movies that followed.
Mhm.
Like, and I mean, just the level of artistry that they were doing for those movies is like
Yeah.
really kind of insane, and it's just kind of interesting in comparison to like I don't know the Hunger Games movies that never did anything quite like that. Like they could have, but they didn't. Anyway, it's fine.
Yeah.
Or
Obligatory.
Divergent. Who cares?
Obligatory. J.K.
Yeah, who
Rowling
fucking
sucks.
Right. Yes.
Harry Potter mentioned have to. J.K.
Right.
Bad.
The movies that she didn't make look
Yeah.
great.
They do look good. All right. Well, that was a fun discussion, and it's
Yeah.
time for another one, which will be spurred on by our next question from Touch Connors, who asks, "What are your favorite dinosaur films outside of the Jurassic franchise? Also, no Godzilla. Don't get me wrong, I love Godzilla, but that's outside of the scope of this question." Well, don't worry. I don't think
Well, we already talked about our favorite Godzilla.
We already
films.
talked
talking
about
about our favorite Godzilla
yes.
movies.
But
Scott, you're up first.
Yeah, mine is not a Godzilla movie. It is I wouldn't necessarily call it as a dinosaur movie, but Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is like, does it have pacing issues? Boy, howdy. Could you cut like 20 minutes out of that movie and make it substantially better? Absolutely, you could. Does it also kick ass? Yes, it does. Man, that movie is a ton of fun. And I like the dinosaur designs in it. I like the scenes with dinos in it. That fight scene between the Kong and the three Rexes is just so inventive and so much fun. And like, yeah, the Statosaurus or Venatosaurus, whatever the hell it is like half of the pop culture T-Rexes these days, and the other half are the JP T-Rex. And like, it is just kind of frustrating to see that those design cues just repeated over and over again. But that design is fun. That movie's great. I love it.
It's a tremendous film.
Yeah.
Alex,
Oh, but the bug scene. Oh,
I mean, Jurassic Park.
outside of Jurassic franchise.
outside of the
I mean,
Jurassic
King
franchise.
Kong. That's what I meant. The 2005 King Kong. Cool.
Yeah.
Dingosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we like
also-
a good dingosaur.
Mine is probably also 2005 Kong. I think I was when you mentioned the pacing issues, that may have been the first 3-hour movie I saw.
I think
It may have been the first time I realized a movie can be this long, and I was like, I like it.
Would
That's
that
cool.
have been before Lord of the Rings for you?
Oh no, probably not. Never mind.
But were any of the Lord of the Rings movies like theatrical releases over 3 hours?
Return of the King.
I thought those were only extended.
Let me check. No, Return of the King is 3 hours 21 minutes. The extended edition is 4 hours long.
What?
Good Lord.
But it deserves it. It's a great movie. And yes, I forgot about that. So no, it's not my first 3-hour movie. Never mind. But it's still probably my favorite dinosaur film outside of Jurassic Park. I'm going to give an honorable mention to Disney's Dinosaur. That I loved that as a kid. And I still think that it's very beautiful in many ways. Not
There are
everywhere.
bits of it that hold up nowadays, like the soundtrack, like some of the CGI, like the incorporation of the CGI into the environment is so good. Some of the designs are great. And then there's the love monkey.
Well, listen,
But
Cindy is a very important part of all of this.
yes, it does make me think of that I don't remember if it was on Twitter or TikTok that we saw. I think Amelia, you sent it, of the person. It's like POV your Aladar, and it's just all the like rats climbing up them. It's just great.
It's so good. It was such a niche reference. It was so funny.
And I also want to give an honorable mention to We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, which I don't think I've seen the whole thing. And I caught bits and pieces of it on TV every once in a while as a kid. And I was like, this seems really cool. And that's where it lives in my mind.
I've
That's
seen
something
it,
I think
and
I
I
would
have
like.
no memory of it.
I watched it all the time when I was a kid. The songs in there are like still kind of live in a deep secluded part of my brain. And I rewatched some clips. So I watched it very young, and I rewatched some clips relatively recently, and it is the absolute most jarring thing on the planet after like these life experiences of realizing that the sister in that is just Lisa Simpson. It's just the voice actor of Lisa Simpson. She's not doing any other voice. It is just Lisa Simpson, and it's the most distracting thing in the entire movie. Also, that the villain's death in that legitimately gave me nightmares as a kid. It's one of the most haunting villain deaths I've seen in a kid's film. It's amazing. Just crows swarming all over a guy and leaving nothing but the bolt that was his eye like laying on the ground, and it's almost silent. It's horrifying. I love it.
That is cool.
All right, James, those are my answers.
I also really liked Disney's Dinosaur as a kid. I think, does Zinni hold up? Not so much, right? But it's it's a beautifully done movie. And I think that it's nice. Is it my choice to watch now? No, I don't think I've watched it in well over a decade. but it's nice and it's pretty. And I think there should be pretty nice movies for kids. Peter Jackson's King Kong, great. Was the first over 3-hour movie I saw because I did not watch any of the Lord of the Rings movies until I was a junior in high school. And then I haven't watched them since.
Does the Ballad of Big Al count?
I'm proud of myself. The Ballad of Big Al is not a movie.
Okay.
But I'm proud of my restraint. Every Lord of the Rings movie once, we're good. I've watched them. Peter Jackson's King Kong, I watched many, many times.
That's because that movie's awesome.
It's cool.
Until the last, until they get to New York. In which case
there's
I was
one
yapped.
anecdote I do want to say. I do want to bring up, which is, two anecdotes. One, the video game was also excellent.
Yes, I've been replaying that recently.
Have you really?
Because I got a PlayStation 2
punches so far above its weight class for a licensed video game. It took so many weird risks.
Yeah, it's really quite good.
Zero UI, modeled ecosystems.
It's great. So there's that. Also, during the making of for that, I remember watching the documentary, and they talked about how they made a digital model of Naomi Watts, because there's a scene where King Kong picks her up and grabs her out of the sacrifice thing. They were like, this would kill an actor, so we can't have her really do that. And I remember watching, I was like, I don't think that would kill her. They could have just had her on a rig that yanks her or something. And then I watched the V-Rex versus Kong fight again. And I was just like, oh yeah, most of these actions would kill a human being. They would be liquefied.
Catches her in midair and throws her around.
Yeah. Her brain is just a paste smeared on the inside of her occipital bone.
Well, it's like
bad.
the actually thing that people have been doing recently on Twitter. If there's the clip of this new Superman movie going around of a woman almost getting stepped on and Superman coming in and saving her, and people just going, actually he's going at bullet speed. That's a 6-foot bullet that just turned her into paste. And it's not every superhero thing needs to be invincible. Shut up. It's fine.
Also if you're tired of superhero things, just don't watch them. It's okay.
Just don't watch them.
Well, no,
it's
but
fine.
the people who are bitching about that just want Zack Snyder to make more movies.
Yeah.
Why? Are there people who want that?
I can't explain everything in the world.
Okay.
I
Anyway,
can't tell if that was you do your own research, or these are the unknowns of life.
I think a little from column A, a
I
little
think
bit from
it was
column
both. It was beautifully done. Anyway, there's that. But I also do want to just give a special shout out to all the old Ray Harryhausen stop motion dinosaur movies from back in the day. I loved those when I was younger. I always wanted to. My first thing I wanted to be in the film world was a stop motion animator. I wanted to bring the art form back. I think it's so cool. I love it, and they look so neat. The movies are all so not good. They're just really not very good movies, but sometimes they have an Allosaurus in them fighting a circus elephant, and that's very cool.
Guanji.
We love the Valley of Guanji. I can't believe they haven't remade the Valley of Guanji.
Genuinely, I think that you could
actually, yeah.
I think you could have a lot of fun remaking the Valley of Guanji.
Right, make it a cowboy movie that's also a dinosaur movie.
Yeah.
You have just made $2 billion. Hollywood, that idea is free.
Well, they did make a cowboy movie that was also an alien movie.
I like that movie.
Cowboys
It
and
had James Bond in it.
I think that its box office was approximately the people on this call.
Apparently,
so.
Yes, but it did rip.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you guys were talking about Nope.
Also
No.
an amazing movie.
No, we're talking about the cowboy and alien movie called Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah, I got there. Yeah.
Great title. There's a scene at the beginning where Daniel Craig yells in a British accent.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's so funny. He just he grunts in pain, and I'm like, why is he English?
Oh,
that was the sound of a pained Englishman. I know that in my bones.
Brings me back to my sophomore year.
Amelia, your favorite your favorite non-dinosaur Jurassic Park film. No, your favorite non-Jurassic Park dinosaur film.
I think it's a Disney one. Not entirely, because I don't believe I've seen any other non-Jurassic dinosaur movies. Well, I've seen 65, but I didn't like it.
No,
Well, I take it
default,
back.
no.
I had fun. I had more fun, I'm sure, than most people watching it did.
Man, not even
But-
Land Before Time?
No,
Whoa!
I might have seen bits and pieces of Land Before Time, but I don't think I ever watched any of the movies like start to finish.
Huh.
Yeah.
I kind of can't believe it.
Yeah, genuinely.
Remember context. I liked dinosaurs, but it was never.
No, but still,
was-
it was like,
Yeah, I mean,
like,
they were just such a big franchise. I'm just kind of surprised you got away without watching,
especially
like, one.
even the first one.
It's like when I meet people who haven't seen Star Wars as adults now. I'm kind of like, I'm just kind of impressed. Like,
Yeah,
they were
seriously.
everywhere. Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
Cool.
We
Yeah.
had like our VHS library was mostly like classic Disney stuff. So like there's a lot of stuff that I haven't seen that most people my age have just because we didn't have it in the house.
Mhm.
I don't know, I wasn't buying I had no money. I was 4, like
You were a
but anyways.
child.
I
yeah.
um
Well, I guess we're just
then-
built different. When we were 4, we were like, excuse me, I'll cover
Concierge.
this.
but
We'd go
anyways,
into the
that's-
video store with our own ostrich skin wallet and be like, only the latest Land Before Time.
When I was 4, I was investing in fart coin before it even existed. So
That's pretty good,
I was gonna
Scott.
say, that's because you were just farting on pennies.
is that not what it is? Is that not what crypto is?
Sorry, Amelia. As you were.
that's okay. I don't have anything else to say really. Like that's it. But also like I do genuinely like the Disney dinosaur movie. I watched it maybe a year ago, like not that long ago. And I hadn't watched it in like a while, and I was like, oh right, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Indeed. Our last question of the day comes to us from the man with no name, who says, assuming January hasn't been filmed yet, a strong
You were
assumption.
right.
My question is, what are your opinions on New Year's resolutions, and what, if any, are yours? So reach back into the depths of our minds. Scott, you've written your answer first.
My opinions on New Year's resolutions is basically that I think that they work best when they are not incredibly specific arbitrary goals. Like it's like lose X amount of weight or something like that. But it's like lifestyle changes that you want to implement in yourself, and having a marker, an annual marker is something that you can judge your progress by. And for mine, it was to like, I had a person, I had like a just me one, and like a goal that I wanted to do one, that it was like I wanted to become a better community member. And that is something I'm really wanting to do now that things are actually warming up in the East Coast. I want to start like doing community building things, like getting to know all the people in my building, hosting like building happy hours and stuff. And I've actually helped do a bunch of this in our department here at Harvard, is hosting these coffee hours for our VP department, where we're actually bringing in the collections and research staff and having everyone just talk over donuts and bagels and coffee and stuff like that we had really done previously. And it's really great and is fostering some fun connections there. And I wanted to be more intentional and take better care of my appearance. Not that I thought that I was slovenly before, but it was more that like I realized that I was like unconsciously like basically wearing variations on the exact same outfit like my entire life. And I was like, I want to switch things up a little bit. And I'm like try some different things out, put some actual thought into how I'm doing my hair and stuff like that, and like yeah, have some more intentionality behind some things. And I've really liked that. Like for the actual first time in my life, I've had people like, while I'm like going out with people, just go like, shit, I really like your outfit. And I'm like, thank you. It's great. So yeah.
Cool. That we like
Nice.
that for you.
That's good.
Alex.
I would never change anything about myself because I'm perfect,
Understandable.
Understandable. Have a good day.
except for Lent. Unless it's, I refuse to accept the disgusting Protestant resolution.
Yep. Cool.
Alex has a compulsion to make something about Protestants every time we talk.
I've decided they don't believe in God.
Okay. Well,
we believe in the demiurge.
Dalton,
I say
do you
we
have
as
a-
if I strongly identify as a Protestant. I do. So I have, pursuant to the what are my opinions on New Year's resolutions. I enjoy. I think they bring people some purpose and some reflection, and I enjoy using the New Year's as an opportunity to reflect and think on goals. I don't typically do resolutions, because I think Scott hit on something that if like people try to make very specific goals and then don't meet them, and it can be disappointing. I also and Scott kind of hit on this too. I don't know that the new year is the best time of the year to be trying to like make life changes. It's just at a weird point. It's like in the middle of the winter. Like I know it's important societally that we're entering, a new year, the date changes, but you're kind of sandwiched right after some big major holidays where you may be traveling, doing a lot of things that aren't part of your normal hobbies and like lifestyle. You're coming back home probably shortly after the new year. If you've traveled, you kind of maybe have to go back to work. Maybe you're waiting for school to start. It's cold and it's dark, and physiologically you just kind of want to crawl in a hole and sleep, and no one can blame you for that. That's just how the environment is and how biology is. I think it's useful because we have culturally demarcated it as like a major time of transition of here's the new year. It means something and it is meaningful. So it's useful to think about, as I come into this next year, what kind of changes do I want to make? What do I want to be more intentional about? What do I want to be more mindful about? But I find other times of the year are better for kind of spurring that change in you. Like when it comes, like when spring comes around and you start to get into summer things, you get more energy. You're like, okay, I'm going to there's a reason that spring cleaning is a thing, right? And I don't think it's just because it's like, oh, time to do it. It's like, now I have energy to do it. There's like light coming in the house. People might be coming over. I want to
company is coming.
I've got to clean up my den that I've made for the winter. Like we're mammals. We bed down and then we got to get up, and then, summer's coming, and it's those kinds of like seasonal changes, where you're also not being bogged down by a ton of like holiday obligations. Like I love the winter holidays, but by the end of it, you're like, wow, that was a lot.
Right.
Those are, I think, better.
There was a lot
times.
of time to fundamentally change my life.
Yes, there are better times to start trying to like make changes than where we have happened to put the calendar new year, which just coincides with a rough time of the of physical reality. And James, you're up.
I like New Year's resolutions. I think they're okay. I kind of agree with Dalton. I think it can be a difficult time to try to change things just because like it's usually not a normal time, right? Like it's easier to change things when life is kind of normal. But I think it's always good to self-reflect and think about yourself. I think it's maybe the most important thing as a person. It's your constant work is to figure out who you are and how you're not being the person you want to be, and try to be more of that person. You might never get there fully, but you got to think about it and you got to try. Because the only thing that's, in my opinion, makes you like bad at being a person is if you're not trying, right? If you're putting in the effort, that's good. And that doesn't mean when somebody's like, I'm trying, but they never do anything better. You also have to do better a little bit. You don't have to do better all the time. But if you're just crying about how you're trying to, and then you're not actually trying to, you're just Tony Soprano in therapy. It doesn't actually help you very much. I have a New Year's resolution this year. It's the first time I've really tried to keep one. And I think I've been doing okay, which is just to be more mindful of how I use my time. I'm somebody who has tended to like throw myself into work all the way. And it's been difficult for me to keep up with things that I want to do outside of that, whether they be hobbies or spending time with friends who I have outside of a professional capacity. We did joke earlier that I don't have friends outside of the Skeleton Crew. I don't know if that joke is cut or not. I do have friends outside of the Skeleton Crew, but especially for the last few years, like you guys have been most of the people I'm talking to because you're the ones who there's a thing we have that means I have to see you. And many of my other friends, I really did not make enough time for, and I'm not happy about that because I was so consumed with work in various respects that I didn't make time for them. Less true with my family because there's more opportunities where you just are with family than with friends who may live elsewhere. But it was the same kind of thing where I knew I wasn't making enough time for all of the people in my life who I wanted to make time for. So I've been trying very deliberately to be more intentional with my time this year. To really think, how am I going to allocate time in these different portions of different days and over the week and over months, and make time to see friends and spend time with family and do work things and try to be productive at all of them. And I've done okay at that for now. And it's good because it means that I don't need to do work for every waking hour of every single day to stay ahead and do things. I've submitted multiple papers this year.
Woo!
Right. I didn't do that on the years where I was killing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm also going to just say one thing here, though. Every PhD student is going to be like, yes, you have to rest. And by rest, many early PhD students I meet are like, well, my work-life balance is important to me. And what I hear a little bit is the life part is 23 hours and 30 minutes every day. And then I will open an email once a day. You got to do a little bit more than that. Most days, probably. But it's okay. Also be intentional with your time and do different things because it actually does make you happier and more productive. I think that
James,
was
was
Amelia.
Yeah, okay. Amelia, yeah. Any thoughts and or resolutions and or both?
I think I pretty much agree with most of what everyone has said here. Like, they work for some people, they don't work for others, and either way is fine. The important thing is just that I think even if they don't work for you, you're taking a moment to think about it. You know, like it's helpful. And I used to try to have resolutions, but like, I don't even remember what they were, but it was just like, it never worked, or they were too vague in my case. They were too vague. So they were unachievable because I wasn't actually working towards something. I don't have anything specific this year. It's also like similar to what James was saying, but I have a more targeted in terms of being more deliberate with time. But it's more targeted in that I'm going to probably delete most of the socials off of my phone just because I am sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about everything all the time because it just makes me angry. And like, to an extent, I do like to be angry. It's fun. But
To an extent.
To an extent.
Yeah.
To a very large extent. But
to a very large extent, but I don't like it when it genuinely, like, there were a couple rounds of discourse in this community lately that got to a point where I was just like, this makes me want to quit the field entirely because I don't want to deal with this conversation ever again.
Discourse in my paleo community?
Right? Well, and yeah, I don't need to get too much into it, but it was very frustrating. And it was, I don't know, it's frustrating. And I want to be, the other part of it is like, I finished a PhD. I want to be left alone. I want everything to be quiet. I don't want to hear about it. I will watch the news, and that is where I will get my information.
Ugh.
Gross, the news.
For example, the current round of discourse, one of them in paleo is about the Jurassic movie. And it frustrates me to be in the presence of so much negativity over something that doesn't matter and is overwhelmingly going to be a positive thing for science and for our field, as it always has been in terms of funding and perception. And this one does actually look like it will be better than the last ones. And it's not even about that. Ultimately, it's not even well, right. But it's not even really about that at all. It's what frustrates me is just how I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it in a way that I can say on recording. It is frustrating to me to see how much people get invested in things that don't matter, especially at a time where, as a science, as we discussed earlier, we're facing so many real, tangible problems.
Existential crises.
Well, yeah. Right. And it's like, all right, and this is what you're worried about? Like, really? This is how you're spending your time? But also, in other parts, it just makes me, I feel bad for people. It's like, you can't just enjoy this. Like, you can't just enjoy having a thing. I don't know. It's frustrating. Anyway, the point is, the apps cause negativity, and I would like to get rid of them. I also would like to have more space on my phone for photos, which I like to take, and apps take up space. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we break, I want to say one thing pursuant to the Jurassic franchise. I don't know how much federal research money paleontology has gotten since like 1990. But it's definitely less than the amount of money the Jurassic Park movies have made based on the results of a lot of our research. And so I joked about paleontology not being that easy to convert into shareholder value before, or maybe Dalton specifically made that joke, actually. But actually, in that case, it is.
Yeah.
And the return on investment's way more than anybody ever put into it. So a lot of people made a lot of money, and shareholders of those
even the
companies
worst
made a lot
of those
money.
movies made like $1 gazillion. Like it's
The worst of them made $371 million, which is probably about the amount of federal funding that's been spent on paleontology directly in about 30 years. It's probably similar, right? Anyway, we're the Skeleton Crew, and
Sure are.
we have
Skeleton
patrons
Crew.
who we should thank, right? Because that's the last question, right?
That is the last question for this
Okay.
time. There are no more. I wept, for there were no more questions to monger.
Dalton, you're so silly.
You are such a silly guy. All right, well, should we thank our patrons?
Thank
I think we should.
I think we should.
Good night.
All right. Well, I want to thank insert nickname Benjamin Siebster, Christopher Bellis Jones, Aaron Anderson, Adam Molos, Blacklight Virus, Black Spectral Pig, Brett Booth, Camphibia, Chaotic Kaiju, Dinodom, Keenan Taylor, Kevin Preem, King Zasshu, Lincoln Rivenbark, Noah Riccio,
Good name.
Rusty HBK, Squat Pump, The Wigster, Touch Connors, Wheat Mrs. Website, Baryonyx, and You've for your support of the Skeleton Crew. Thank you all so much. This is great. We'll eventually have the mainline videos coming out. But we're going to go now. Thank you all very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.